proper microphones and audio. So last time we talked about lighting and backgrounds, and so today, naturally, we're going to be talking about audio and microphones. Now you can Google what the best microphones are and what equipment to use, but I'm going to teach you techniques that you can use with your equipment to get the best quality audio that you can for your stream. Now some things that you're going to need, if you go for an XLR microphone, hold on. So the first thing you're going to need is a good microphone. Now I would recommend buying a large diaphragm condenser microphone, preferably if it has a cardioid pattern, buy that. Now a cardioid pattern just resembles which directions the microphone picks up sound from. The cardioid pattern picks up in front of the mic, a little from the side, and none at the back. So if I just do a full circle around this microphone right now, which I will do right now, you'll hear a difference in my voice and the volumes, but I'll keep my voice consistent. You'll just hear different volumes. Check this out. That was a little long. That's what she said. Another thing you're going to want to keep in mind when you're purchasing a microphone is it going to be XLR or is it going to be a USB microphone? If you pick up an XLR microphone, you're either going to need an XLR to an 8-inch cable to plug into your computer, or two, you're going to want to buy a mixer to plug in your XLR into your mixer and then the mixer into your computer. Now, buying a mixer does have its benefits. You can completely control the volume of your microphone on the mixer instead of on your computer, which is really handy, especially with an XLR microphone, which don't have volume control directly built into the microphone. So you'll definitely want to consider buying a mixer instead. You can also just do cool things like add effects to your voice, boost your high end of your voice or boost the low end of your voice, or even the mid-range of your voice. Most USB microphones have a built-in way to adjust the volume right on it, so you won't need a mixer. Plus you can plug it in straight to your computer with a USB, which has that extra benefit. The only real difference between USB and XLR microphones is the component of the mixer. If you want to be able to control your voice, add some effects, and really fine-tune your voice, you would have to go with the mixer. The reason why you wouldn't want to use a headset and you want to use a condenser microphone is because headsets just don't have that same sound quality that these microphones provide. These microphones have been around for years and years, and the technology on them hasn't really changed much. But the difference in quality on a headset microphone versus a giant microphone right here is almost like day and night. I mean, just look at the size of this thing. This thing is nothing to mess around with. That's what she said. So I'm using an XLR microphone. I'll show you right here. Again, it is a giant microphone. I have the XLR cable right here, which goes around over to my right side into this mixer here. And here's where I can control my voice. My volume is right here, so I can get quieter or I can get louder here. And a bunch of other things that I can show you, but I won't have to do that because your mixer is going to be different than mine. Another thing you're going to want to buy is a pop filter. That's what this giant circle thing in front of me is. This thing right here. Now what this does is that it prevents air from passing through it, so that when you're saying words like pop or poo or people or anything with a P, B, or that kind of phonic sound, the air won't pass through the filter and it won't just be a rush of air into the microphone. I'll give you an example right here. People poop on our patties. People poop on our patties. A little technique that I use when I use the pop filter is the 3-finger technique. Now you're going to want to take your 3 fingers, put them between your microphone and your pop filter, and that's when you know how far your pop filter should be. This gives you an optimal distance where you can be right up to your pop filter and you're not too close to your microphone. Another thing you want to consider is the volume of your voice. Now if you have a lot of background noise around you, you're going to want to introduce yourself and be familiar with something called a noise gate. Now a noise gate makes sure your microphone stays inactive until the decibel level goes above a certain threshold. Once it's above the certain threshold, your microphone will activate and all the noise around you will then go into your microphone. This just allows that when you're not talking, you won't hear all this annoying background noise, and to make sure that you will always be the focus of attention. Another thing you want to consider if you're too loud is a compressor. Now a compressor compresses all of the sound to a lower volume. You set a threshold again, and if it gets above that threshold, it'll start lowering the noise level of your voice. And this is really good if you occasionally yell on your stream and you don't want to destroy the ears of all the people who use headphones on your stream. RIP headphone users! So if you're playing a scary game like Outlast or Amnesia and you're just like really into it and you just start screaming like "Ah!" You're gonna want to consider a compressor. Now you can Google everywhere of how to use compressors. They'll explain it way 10 times better than I will ever do, so I would recommend, if you're going to use a compressor, to look up and Google and research how to use compressors. Another tip I can give you is to try to be as close as you can to your microphone so that you don't have to turn up your volume so loud to pick up all this other background noise around you. If your microphone is default very loud, you're going to be picking up all this background noise around you. And I'll give you an example right here. Right there, you were hearing the fans on my computer and probably just the static that my mixer introduces. So I want to keep my volume, or my gain rather, to a minimum, but still be heard by you guys. So to do that, I have to stay as close as I can to my microphone so that I can keep my gain down as low as possible. Plus, don't you just want to hear my sexy voice? Isn't it just great? The last thing I would recommend is to make sure that you get a shock mount for your condenser microphone. Without the shock mount, you're going to be hearing every single tap that your computer has, every vibration that your computer makes, and even if you're typing on your keyboard, you'll hear really bad noise. Now a shock mount just looks like this. It's like elastic almost, surrounded your microphone. So my microphone is actually attached to the bottom, screwed in to the bottom, and this shock mount absorbs all of the shock around the stand. So if I were to bang my table, you hear me banging my table, but you don't hear like the vibration of the table. Now I'm recording with the Blue Yeti right in front of me. It might sound a little different, but this does not have a shock mount here. I'll show you right now. This is just a regular mount, but it doesn't absorb any shock. So I'm gonna be hitting my table right now and give you an example of how annoying not having a shock mount is. And now I'll give you an example with a shock mount. Anyway, that's all the tips that I really can give you. If you really want to go into what microphones you should use, or what mixers you should use, and a more in-detail guide on sound, I'm going to link you to a Reddit post down below, and it's written by my buddy Transient Gamers on Twitch. He's an audio engineer, so he really knows what he's talking about for sound, and I would really recommend reading that guide. I thank you guys for tuning in to proper audio and microphones, and I hope to see you next time when we talk about some other thing on the Streamer's Guide to Twitch. See you later!